what if somebody has, let's say, $50,000 or $100,000 in credit card debt, and we know many people who do, and they just think there's no life at the end. I mean, I'm not going to get this paid off for 20 years, and then I won't be 50 till I can start investing. So what advice would you give to somebody who has, a pretty substantial amount of debt to where it would be years before they could get it paid off? Should those people be contributing to both at the same time, or is it just get that debt gone and then take the next steps?
That's such a good question. I think my first recommendation for people is just take a deep breath and exhale, and know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We've had it's been incredibly fortunate that we have the chance to work with a lot of different clients, so we see a lot of different situations, and we've helped folks that have $100,000 in debt eliminate that debt. And if you can have the correct focus and the intensity, there's no question you can get out of it quickly. Now the question is, do we want to have that focus and intensity and the discipline to actually make those changes? Because I think it really starts with more of a psychological shift. And the reality of the situation is, we got ourselves in this mess, we got to get ourselves out. And it's really easy to get into a lot of debt, but it's really hard to get out of it. So can we have that psychological shift to change and go, okay, today I draw a line in the sand, and I'm gonna take the proper steps to get there. I think having a proper plan, I think having goals tied to those with time frames on them is crucially important. So the answer is absolutely, people can do it. In terms of, again, investing, I've got a tough time with folks investing while they're in retirement. And the really nice thing is, once you've or investing while they're in debt, if you can take that same focus and that same intensity that you've had while paying off debt and saving up for an emergency fund, you can take that same intensity and push it into retirement. So you can make a tremendous difference over time. So I would tell folks to exhale, make a plan, and focus on the fact that you can get out of it. It's just going to take time. It's going to take discipline, and you have to do the really hard things to get that reward at the end of the tunnel.
Dave Ramsey, a well-known talk show host, has a concept called the debt snowball. You make a list of all your debts, and you focus on paying the minimum on all of them, but get the smallest one paid first. And so if you're paying $20 a month on the small one, as soon as that one's paid for, you can add $20 more to the payment on the second smallest, until you eventually work your way through all your debts. But it takes a conscious decision, and that decision isn't easy. As a family, I let us get into debt. Not saying no, my own spending habits. It is so much easier to get into debt than it is to get out. And the only way to get out is to make a really conscious decision. As soon as you go open an account at a bank or someplace, before you get home, they've got a credit card flyer in your mailbox. Yeah. And you say, well, I'll just get it for emergencies. But the next thing you know, you've got to replace the tires, so that's an emergency you use it for. Yeah. Or the child needs to go on a school field trip, and so that's kind of an emergency.
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, you have these, and then the next thing you know, you say, well, I get 0% interest. So I'm only going to pay a 2 or 3% fee to transfer the balance from this card to this card. And the next thing you know, you're using that other one again for emergencies.
Yeah.
And so we see it all the time, in early years, we fell into that habit. There's a difference between head knowledge and heart knowledge. And what you've got to figure out how to do in managing debt is it not just be head knowledge, but it's got to be heart. And you've got to make a decision to do something different.
Right. In my 20s, I had horrendous spending habits, and I was another person. I got into debt, worked my tail off to pay it off, and I did. But then probably a year later, you start getting all these credit card offers, and I just got right back into debt, even worse than before. And I was like, why? I knew how bad it feels to have to, pay all these credit card payments. Why did I allow that to happen again? And I think it was, I did it once, and wasn't that big of a deal. I can do it. We have those voices in our head that talk us into it, and so I had to go back through that again. But also, I think one thing that I've learned, and there's so many things, is that old-fashioned saying, if I don't have cash for it, I cannot buy it. If I don't have cash, like cold hard cash, I just can't do it, you know. And even to this day, that is what's kept us out of trouble. Another thing is when you get those credit card thing, we all know what they look like, you know, in our mailbox. It just goes. I don't even open it. Don't even want to know what they're offering me or what the deal of the day is. It's just garbage, 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 garbage. And so I think those have been the two things that have saved me, you know, in my 30s and 40s. Is just, if you don't have cash, can't do it. And anything that comes in the mail that I know is, you know, it's not something that I know what it is, it just goes right in the garbage can. And, you know.
It's really a well thought of concept that if you're paying cash like this at the cash register or at the restaurant or wherever else, you will spend less money.
Yep.
And plastic makes it so easy. Debit card's a lot better than a credit card, but even then it doesn't always feel real.
Yeah. And you can go a day and make 5 transactions, and it's not until you look at your bank account go, oh crud, I forgot about that one, you know. But when it's cash, I mean, like you said, it's just psychologically such a different process.